Welcome to Mortal Kombat 11. Fun fact, I got all the achievements on the Xbox One back in the day.
Ow! What the fuck?
I know. We won't talk about it. But now I go for the Mortal Kombat 11 Platinum Trophy. Like and subscribe or...
Your soul is mine.
Now folks, let's start off with the campaign. And for the sake of time here, I'm not going to show every single fight that we have. Just the plot points in there, as there will be plenty of fighting and depth to come. The campaign starts with the demise of Shinnok from Mortal Kombat X. Raiden is once again given into darkness and corruption for Earthrealm's benefit. The conversation between the two gods goes about as you'd expect. Shinnok being the Elder God, though, he can't die. However, being decapitated and being left on a table, I think is actually worse than that. As Raiden goes to show off his new red lightning look, the rain stops and Kronika enters the picture. Kronika is a titan, a being that is far stronger than Elder God, and is actually Shinnok's mother. Seeing her son decapitated doesn't really fill her with joy though, so being the keeper of time, she decides it's time for a new era. We then cut to Ronda Rousey, Sonya, giving her daughter Cassie a promotion in the Special Forces. With each chapter of this game's campaign, you focus on a different character, and Cassie is our first. As Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade are having a good loving moment, you know what I mean? Raiden appears and decides it's time to go to the Netherrealm, as Liu Kang and Kitana have been corrupted and need to be taken down quick. With Raiden and the Special Forces at the temple doors, Raiden sets a pretty intense diversion, while the Special Forces go in and try to destroy the cathedral. The diversion works for the most part, but we still have to deal with a couple of characters that caught wind of us. And honestly, this scene is crazy. Mortal Kombat has always been the best at story and cinematic cutscenes in fighting games. And this scene is a great example of that. Look at Mortal Kombat's trailers throughout their history. They know what they're doing. They kick ass. As Cassie, we defeat Cabal and Kitana while Sonya and her team set the charges on the base. Unfortunately though, Liu Kang's interference causes Sonya and your team to be trapped under rubble. We then move Liu Kang out to the way, but even after our quick beatings, it's too late. Sonya orders Cassie and her team to leave while she stays back and, well, harakiris herself really. Cassie is devastated about it, but they have to leave. As the castle collapses on top of Sonya, Cassie and her team have to escape with Raiden. With the castle collapsing, Liu Kang and Kitana are now extremely vulnerable. However, a certain bald bastard appears to help. Kronika, of course. She is fed up with Raiden interfering with her plans, and to prove that she is ultra powerful, she rewinds time and immediately rebuilds the cathedral in full. Kronika's plan is to restart the timeline and make a new era so that Raiden cannot live to ruin her plans, with the power of something called her hourglass. But even her power isn't strong enough to do what she wants, so she will need an army, and she sets her plan in motion by immediately bringing back old characters, including the dead, such as Shao Kahn and the past versions of Liu Kang, Kitana, Kung Lao, Jade, and Raiden. Shit, everyone's back. And I will admit, if you're not that familiar with Mortal Kombat, the constant timeline resets and throwbacks can make this very complicated, so I will try to spell it out as best I can. Here, let me make a handy little diagram to show you who's against who. On one side, you have Raiden, Kotal Khan, and the younger alive versions of many characters that fight for peace and trying to stop Kronika. On the other side, Kronika, Shao Kahn, the bad guys, and the Revenant versions of past heroes. The new characters that we see were brought from the time of Mortal Kombat 9 during the second tournament, decades before current events, and with Shao Kahn back, he wants his throne back too, but Kotal Khan doesn't want to give up that throne just yet. So a war immediately begins. This moment truly is a battle royale. However, Kotal actually one time gets the upper hand. So the disgusting bug lady comes in to save his bacon. In Devor's Hive, the Collector explains to Shao Kahn the last couple of decades until Kronika enters to explain things further. She rambles on about, sorry, what was that again, Kronika? Oh yeah, her new era. She enlists Shao Kahn's army to fight for her as she promises him an empire in which Raiden won't be there. And of course, Shao accepts. While all this is going on, the Special Forces group get used to their previous younger selves popping up as well, which is a lot for Cassie and Johnny, as Sonya only died only like 10 minutes ago. However, the Netherrealm are attacking the Wuxi Academy, and Liu Kang and Kung Lao need to go and protect it as the forces of evil cannot get their hands on the life force it contains, as Kronika needs that to further her plan. When they arrive, the entire academy has been invaded and attacked, and dead monks litter every path. Until entering, we get attacked by an old angry scorpion, the evil Jade, and the evil Shaolin monks, and we defeat them. Now this is where we meet Geras, a new Mortal Kombat character and Kronika's right-hand man. He's immortal and comes back stronger every time he gets killed, which Kung Lao puts to the test immediately.
That was easy.
Yeah, take that. However, Gears also has the power of time and sands, so he freezes us in place because he's a filthy cheater and takes the life force from the Wuxi Academy. Whilst this is going on, the good visions of Sub-Zero and Scorpion are infiltrated the Lin Kuei base. Sub-Zero's clan has apparently restarted the Cyber Initiative, which is bad news for everybody. They are here to find out who started it and to stop it from continuing. Now, of course, since it's the Cyber Initiative, Sector and Cyrax are here as well. But we find out that the person responsible for starting the program is actually Frost, an old student of Sub-Zero who became so hungry for power that she'll do anything for it. Frost now works for Kronika, who promises her a clan of her own, and she started the Cyber Initiative to give Kronika another army to fight for her. We beat them easily because I am a good lad, and with the help of Cyrax after we turn him, we ruined their programming. So instead, Kronika's hired both Kanos to perfect Sector and replicate him instead, so they can still get their army, I guess. Next, we see Kronika in Jax's house, and she manipulates him to join her side. Now, without knowing where Kronika or Shao Kahn are, they can't back and stop their plans. So Jade and Kotal set off to get information. Who better to ask than the disgusting bug lady herself? But since Devora only serves herself, she gives up the location straight away. It turns out they are hidden in a Tarkatan camp. So they go in to investigate. However, things don't go exactly to plan, and Kotal and Jade get captured by Shao. Next, Raiden goes to see the Elder Gods, but Cetrion shows up and reveals that she is Kronika's daughter and Shinnok's sister, and that she killed the Elder Gods and wants to see her mother's golden balance, and then she leaves. Because a lot is going on in this campaign, I'm just trying to sum it up as best as I can. The Special Forces are once again also under attack by Kano and his goons. We play as Johnny as we have to protect our past self, as since it is shown damage to younger versions definitely affects the old. But Sector is here and wants to show the vast improvements that Kano made to him. However, Kano should definitely go back to the drawing board some more, as it's not enough to beat Johnny Cage. Now, even though Johnny is beating everybody's ass, he does take a cheap one-shot to the knee from Kano and a threat of past self-death. So they take their leave and Sector decides to stay behind to blow himself up and destroy the base. But more on Johnny and Sonya later. For now, we must rescue Jade, Kotal, and prove to Queen Shiva and Baraka that siding with the good guys is the right decision when this is all over. Now, Liu Kang Kung Lao's plan to sneak in Katana as bait doesn't exactly work. However, we do manage to stop Scarlet from killing Jade with blood magic. When that goes awry, we decide to kick Scarlet's tits in, and when we beat her, finally, folks, we get our first trophy! Oh, that took long enough, eh? But this is the halfway point in the campaign, and after we get there, we finally unlock halfway there. Trust me, folks, the trophies will be rolling after we finish this as well. However, with this act of service and our promise, Baraka says that he and his Tarkatan army will join forces with Kotal, and with this, Queen Shiva, the Shokan race, will also join suit. We jump back to Shao, taking back his throne and almost ridding Kotal Khan of brain and anything else he owns, really. But right on time, the good guys arrive to cut this bitch down. And the plan works okay, I guess. Shao Kahn gets hit with some pocket sand. However, since Shao Kahn hates sand because it's annoying, he puts Kotal torture rack. Lex Luger would be proud. But as he's about to finish him, Katana stands in against her adoptive dad and gives her dad a well-awaited present, blindness. But with that, Katana has proven herself to be the best person to rule Outworld. Kotal Khan relinquishes his throne and now Katana Khan rules. Now we find out that Kronika's keep is on an island, but to get there, we need the help of Khan the ferryman, as we have to cross the Sea of Blood. The next chapter has us escape Kano's complex as Johnny and Sonya. However, nothing eventful happens here really, other than Kano getting an impromptu eye test. The next chapter has us playing as Jackie and Jax trying to stop Kronika from collecting her crown, something else she needs to power herself up even more. But the future Jax shows up with the new Kronika upgrade and stops us from collecting it. So Jax faces off against Jax and the younger version wins. We then get confronted by Cetrion and she destroys the ground and we have to give old man Jax the crown and Cetrion gives the crown to Kronika. Next we play as Scorpion as he goes to see Karam. Now unfortunately for him, we're not the first to arrive, as Devora is already here torturing the poor bloke something rotten. We of course put an end to it with a very stylish back spear. But after we put it into the floor, we get visited by the ghost of Christmas Rage, as old Scorpion returns to mock current Scorpion for ruining his clan. Well, let's see who's better, past or present. Here's a hint, Hanzo wins. Easily. However, we start talking sense into the old Scorpion. We tell him that Kronika is to blame here for everything that happened to his clan. However, before we can become brothers in arms, Devora gives Scorpion a little sting of his own, and then scuttles off before she could take further pain. Now, unfortunately, we can't have two Scorpions, so the present one dies. Old Scorpion has a change of fate and goes back to swear his loyalty to the good guys. Now, it does take a moment and a couple of fights to convince them that I'm not the angry Scorpion anymore. Man, I've said Scorpion a lot, haven't I? Convincing Raiden takes the most. In fact, his evil side starts to make an appearance again. After all, Shinnok's amulet is influencing him. But he realizes that he's changing and puts a stop to it immediately. Oh, we love character development. However, before we can be all happy that everybody's nice again, Kronika appears to say, "Why are you even bothering? I control time, and I have fought with you for 1,000 timelines. And to prove that she wants to win, she takes Liu Kang. Talk about fighting dirty. With both Liu Kangs, they can combine souls and become absolutely unstoppable. So with no further delay, it's time to storm the gate. With ships of the good guys and armies upon armies, it's going to take a hell of a lot to stop them. But Kronika certainly tries. Firstly with the cyber army made by Sector and Frost. But Jax shows up, and after we beat him, we convince him to join the good guys' side again. Geras tries to help the win, but we send him into the Sea of Blood. Now the cool thing about this is that Geras of course is immortal, and the Sea of Blood is bottomless. So he's just gonna fall forever. That's barbaric, and I love it. But since we're winning and getting closer, Liu Kang appears to stop them, and he is mega ultra powerful now, thanks to the soul of good Liu Kang. I know, it's complicated, but realizing that this Liu Kang won't stop, Raiden does the impossible. He shocks Liu Kang into a newly impressive upgrade. Revenant Liu Kang, normal Liu Kang, and Raiden fuse together to become one. Raiden is no longer a god, now it's Lord Liu Kang. And let's be real, this is pretty badass. However, no more stalling. It's time to defeat Kronika. We storm the island in spectacular cinematic fashion and carve our way through a hot knife through butter. And if you think this is pretty cool as is, well, this happens next. I mean, is that not badass? NetherRealm doesn't miss when it comes to action. Let's go kill this bitch. We fight our way to the Titan herself, and after taking care of her pathetic attempt at bodyguards, let's face Kronika and end this. Now, fighting Kronika isn't great. She's arguably the worst boss NetherRealm has made to fight, as you can't combo her. She has constant armor, and it just makes the fight really boring. I can't lie. However, what's not boring is Kronika restarting the timeline mid-fight to the time of the Jurassic times. In the Jurassic times, we whoop her ass, and it works. With one final shot from the fire god himself, we freeze Kronika in glass and shatter her. Kronika is no more. When we do, Raiden appears again, but merely Raiden now. He has fully given Liu Kang his powers, and now he is a certified Elder God. Whilst Raiden, he's just a human. Now there's a problem though. Kronika's starting to reverse time cannot be undone. So instead, Liu Kang starts from the very beginning and decides to make his own timeline, one of warmth and peace. Oh, and he also brought back Kitana to have some relaxing when he's bored of being a literal god. But they embrace, and that's Mortal Kombat 11's campaign. Then we get the trophies. What's next for completing it, and thank you for being a fan for reaching the credits. But wait, we're not done yet, because it's time for Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. As Liu Kang is about to restart the timeline, Shang Tsung, played by the late Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa, Fujin, and Nightwolf interrupt him and tell him that he cannot restart history without Kronika's crown. So Liu Kang sends them into the past, where Shang Tsung comes up with the idea of resurrecting Sindel, which they successfully do with the help of Queen Shiva. Now they are at Shang Tsung's island to retrieve Kronika's crown, in which after defeating Cetrion they exceed in doing. We then get confronted by Kronika at the Fire Garden, and she reveals to everyone that
Shang Tsung is far too modest. The crown is his design. No one, save me, knows more about its power.
We then hold her off and Shang Tsung gives us the crown. Now here comes the controversy. In the original timeline, Sindel was actually a good person. She was a loving mother, queen of Edenia, loved her daughter Kitana, and tragically committed suicide after her husband Jared died. But in this timeline, Sindel is rotten to her core. She resurrects Shao Kahn, then Shao Kahn smashes Geras' head in, and then Sindel reveals to her daughter Kitana she was never bewitched, and she believed Edenia was growing weak and vulnerable before Shao Kahn arrived, and she loved Shao Kahn's power and really embraced his power. So much so that she also revealed to Kitana that Yeah, what a bitch. But after the evil couple wins and chop Kotal Khan's head off, Shang Tsung reveals his treachery and wears the crown for himself, and in the process becomes young again. Then he steals the souls of Raiden and Fujin, and then betrays Shao Kahn and Sindel and steals their souls. Then he steals Kronika's soul. But as he's about to restart the timeline,
Cease before you doom us all.
Liu Kang reveals to Shang Tsung that he was waiting the whole time for Shang Tsung to win and betray them. So Liu Kang was just sitting behind while Shang Tsung ended up getting the crown, and then he needs to steal the crown from Shang Tsung. So the final battle begins. In Shang Tsung's ending, he steals the soul of Fire God Liu Kang, and then he becomes a huge titan. In Fire God Liu Kang's ending, he takes the crown from Shang Tsung and then trains the great Kung Lao for the Mortal Kombat tournament. And that's the end of the story. Next, we're on to the tutorials. Now, these show you the basic movements and mechanics of the game. And after completing the basic tutorials, we get the trophy Hit the Dojo. Then after a little bit of struggle, we get the trophy Ready to Compete. Now on to No Bad Matchups. This literally is the hardest trophy in the entire game. No exaggeration. But after some trial and error, we got the trophy No Bad Matchups. Now onto the fatalities. There are 26 trophies tied to this category. One for performing 15, another for performing 30, and the rest for performing 2 fatalities with each base roster character. So let's pop those real quick. Now onto brutalities. Now these are where you could finish your opponent with an uppercut or a sick combo. And then I got the trophy Brutal End for completing 25 and Psychopath for completing 100. Then Blood in the Water for spilling 10,000 pints of blood. Not Dead Yet for showing mercy 10 times. Cisco's Not Dead for flipping stance 50 times. And Oh My Days for teabagging 100 times. Next we play as Devora using her Mother Bug variation where she turns into a beautiful little butterfly. And after that we get the Total Disrespect trophy. So next up, let me introduce you to the Crypt. A small little exploration mode where you travel across Shang Tsung's island, opening chests that grant you a variety of rewards. Except for the most part, they give you consumables to use in the towers, so they're pretty mediocre reward-wise. However, we also scratch up a couple more trophies. The first item we pick up was Shao Kahn's hammer. With it, we decide to hit the gong. When we do, we unlock enough already. Next, we found the Nakanaten Shrine, a gambling machine, if you will, as you earn coins for a random reward. The more money you put in, the better reward, but there's a trophy here. So we throw 5,000 coins into its pot and get the trophy Gimme Dat Money. Then we get the trophy My Magic Shoes for running 5 miles in the crypt. Then we get Scorpion Spear and get the trophy Get Over Here for spearing 50 hanging bodies, and Grave Robber for opening 200 chests, and Skull Kebab for doing 25 fatalities on Katana and towers. Speaking of the towers, that's where we had to go next. The towers have you face round after round of enemies with fun and interesting quirks like being able to bring in cameo fighters or being fully armored, for example. There's a lot of game types here. Now, first I did the classic towers, and after completing my first tower with Kotal, I got classic for completing it, and I wanted all for completing towers with 10 different characters. Now, you know the consumables I was talking about earlier. So there are trophies tied to this. So I got the trophy More Power for using 50 and Consumed for using 100. Then I went to the character towers where, unlike the crypt, you get much better rewards like intros, fatalities, and victories. And the next 2 trophies I got are Have We Met for unlocking 5 different intros and Victorious for unlocking 5 different victories. Then for the last 2 trophies, I went to the Endless Tower, paused the game, and went to finish the tower. And I did that for the trophies Tower Champion and Master of Time. Next up is the AI Battle Simulators, a bizarre game mode where you watch your team of 3 characters face another person's team of 3 in incredible speeds. But we get the trophies My AI Can Do It for doing 10 and Puppet Master for doing 25. Last up is the online trophies. Now, for the first online trophy, we go for the trophy Teamwork, where all you have to do is enter a group battle and we get the trophy Teamwork. Next was King of the Hill, where all you had to do was give out 100 respect points. And after our 10th game, we got the trophy. Now, the only thing standing in the way between me and the Platinum is the Competitor Trophy, where I have to play 50 casual matches. Let's dominate this and get the Platinum! No! Damn it. Yes!
Your soul is mine.
Shang Tsung wins. Kotal Khan wins.
Oh, competitor. Casual Bird. Elder Guide! Platinum! Platinum trophy! MK11's platinum was a fun and easy platinum. And I thank you guys so much for watching the video. And I would really appreciate if you please like, comment, and subscribe if you're brand new. And the next game up on the channel is Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. And as always now, Mount Animal out!